All across our remarkable world, a quiet crisis is unfolding, one that touches every living thing. The great forests, which have stood for millennia as vast green oceans teeming with life, are vanishing before our very eyes. These are not merely collections of trees, they are complex, interconnected communities, the cradle of biodiversity and the lungs of our planet. They breathe in the carbon dioxide that we exhale, and in return, gift us the very oxygen we need to survive. Yet, with each passing moment, vast swaths of this vital wilderness are cleared, silenced, and lost forever. The symphony of the forest, once filled with the calls of countless creatures, is growing fainter, and we must ask ourselves why this is happening. The disappearance of these ancient woodlands signals a profound imbalance in our relationship with the natural world. For countless generations, these ecosystems have provided shelter, food, and a place to thrive for an astonishing variety of species. From the smallest iridescent beetles scurrying across the forest floor to the magnificent predators that roam the undergrowth, each creature plays a part in this intricate web of life. When the trees fall, the entire structure collapses. The animals that depend entirely on this habitat are left exposed and vulnerable, their world literally dismantled around them. This is not a distant, abstract problem. It is a tragedy that is happening now, on a scale that is difficult to comprehend. Imagine standing at the edge of what was once a thriving rainforest, now a barren expanse of cracked earth and splintered stumps. The air, once cool and moist beneath the dense canopy, is now hot and dry. The rich, earthy scent of life has been replaced by the smell of dust and decay. This stark transformation is a visual testament to the loss we are inflicting upon our planet. It is a wound on the surface of the earth, a scar that tells a story of destruction. The animals that once called this place home have either perished or been forced to flee, becoming refugees in a world that has less and less space for them. This loss reverberates far beyond the immediate boundaries of the cleared land. The health of our global climate is inextricably linked to the health of our forests. They are crucial regulators of weather patterns, drawing moisture from the soil and releasing it into the atmosphere, creating the rain that sustains life far and wide. As we lose these green giants, we disrupt these ancient cycles, leading to more extreme weather events and a less stable climate for all. The suffering of the animals is the first, most visible sign of a much larger problem, one that will ultimately affect every single one of us, no matter where we live. To understand this crisis, we must look at our own actions. The primary driver of this widespread destruction is a process known as deforestation, which is the clearing of forests on a massive scale. This is not a natural phenomenon, it is overwhelmingly caused by human activity. Our ever-growing demand for resources has placed an unsustainable pressure on these wild places. We clear land for agriculture, creating vast plantations for crops like palm oil and soy, or creating pasture land for cattle ranching. The food that appears on our tables often has a hidden cost, one that is paid by the world's forests and the creatures that inhabit them. Another significant cause of deforestation is the relentless search for timber. Trees that have stood for centuries are felled for their wood, which is then used for construction, furniture, and paper products. While responsible forestry is possible, much of the logging that occurs is illegal and completely unsustainable, leaving behind a scarred and broken landscape from which it is very difficult for a forest to recover. Furthermore, the expansion of our cities and the construction of new roads and dams fragment the wilderness, cutting through ancient animal territories and creating barriers that they cannot cross. These roads act like arteries, pumping destructive human activity deeper and deeper into the heart of what was once untouchable wilderness. The methods used to clear these forests are often brutal and indiscriminate. One of the most common techniques is known as slash-and-burn agriculture. Trees and vegetation are cut down and then set ablaze, clearing the land quickly for farming. The fires, however, frequently burn out of control, consuming far more of the forest than intended and releasing enormous plumes of smoke and carbon into the atmosphere. This not only destroys the habitat but also contributes significantly to air pollution and climate change. The animals caught in these fires have little chance of escape, and the soil that is left behind is often stripped of its nutrients, able to support crops for only a few seasons before it too is abandoned. It is a difficult truth to face, but our daily choices, often made thousands of miles away, are directly connected to the fate of these forests. The products we buy, the food we eat, and the energy we consume all have an impact. The global economy has created a system where the demand in one part of the world can lead to the destruction of a vital ecosystem in another. Recognizing our role in this process is the first crucial step. It is not about placing blame, but about understanding the consequences of our collective actions, so that we may begin to find a better, more sustainable way of living alongside the natural world that supports us all. When a forest disappears, it is not just the trees that are lost. For the animals that live there, it is the loss of everything. Their home, their shelter from predators and the elements, vanishes. The branches where birds nested and monkeys slept are gone. The hollow logs that provided a safe den for smaller mammals are turned to ash. The dense undergrowth where creatures hid and raised their young is scraped away, leaving them completely exposed. An animal without its habitat is like a person without a home, lost, vulnerable and struggling to survive in an unfamiliar and often hostile environment. They are stripped of their security and their sense of place in the world. The forest is also a vast living larder, providing a rich and varied source of food for its inhabitants. When it is cleared, the animal's food supply is obliterated. Fruits, nuts, leaves and insects, the fundamental building blocks of the forest food web, are all destroyed. Predators find that their prey has vanished, and herbivores can no longer find the plants they need to eat. This leads to starvation and intense competition for the few resources that might remain in the degraded landscape. Many animals are forced to venture out of their shrinking territories in a desperate search for sustenance, often bringing them into dangerous conflict with humans and their settlements. Consider the magnificent tiger, a creature that has long captured our imagination. A single tiger requires a vast territory to hunt and find a mate, an area that can span many square miles of dense forest. As these forests are chopped up into smaller and smaller islands, the tigers become trapped, unable to roam as their nature demands. They struggle to find enough prey to feed themselves and their cubs, and their populations become isolated, which makes them vulnerable to disease and genetic decline. Their very existence is hanging by a thread, a direct consequence of the loss of the wild spaces they need to live. The same tragic story is true for the gentle orangutan, the person of the forest. These intelligent apes spend almost their entire lives in the trees, traveling, feeding, and sleeping high up in the canopy. When the bulldozers and chainsaws arrive to clear the forest for palm oil plantations, their world is literally cut down from beneath them. We see heartbreaking images of these creatures stranded, confused, and often injured, in a desolate landscape that was once their home. They lose their food, their shelter, and their families. Their plight is a stark and powerful reminder that when we destroy a forest, we are destroying countless worlds, countless homes, and countless lives. It is a mistake to think that the fate of forests and animals is separate from our own. The well-being of humanity is deeply intertwined with the health of the natural world. The vast forests of the Amazon, the Congo, and Southeast Asia are not just distant wildernesses, they are essential to the stability of our entire planet. They act as giant global air conditioners, absorbing billions of tons of carbon dioxide, the main greenhouse gas driving climate change. By protecting them, we are protecting ourselves from a more volatile and unpredictable future. The clean air we all breathe is, in large part, a gift from these very forests we are now destroying. Furthermore, forests provide us with resources that are essential for our lives. They are a source of medicines, with many modern drugs derived from plants that grow only in these unique ecosystems. They provide timber for our homes and paper for our books, and they are home to millions of people who depend on them directly for their livelihood and cultural survival. Healthy forests also protect our freshwater supplies, filtering rainwater and ensuring that clean water flows into our rivers and streams. When we allow forests to be degraded, we are not just losing biodiversity, we are depleting the natural capital upon which our own prosperity and health depend. The challenge before us may seem immense, but we must not give in to despair. We must instead be filled with a sense of hopeful determination. The power to change this story lies with each and every one of us. It begins with the small choices we make every day. We can choose to buy products made from recycled materials or from wood that is certified as sustainably sourced. We can be more mindful of what we eat, reducing our consumption of products linked to large-scale deforestation. By asking where our food and goods come from, we create a demand for greater responsibility from the companies that produce them. This is not a burden, it is an opportunity. It is a chance to reconnect with the natural world and to build a future where both humanity and wildlife can flourish together. We can support organizations that are working on the ground to protect wild spaces and replant native trees. We can teach our children about the wonder of the natural world and the importance of protecting it. Every tree planted, every wise consumer choice, every voice raised in defense of nature is a step in the right direction. The animals of our world are silent victims of our actions. We who have the power to destroy also have the power to protect. Let us choose to be guardians of our planet, for its sake and for our own.